Hello there, welcome to ShineTech's YouTube channel, and in this video we'll go through biology paper 2, which was written in November 2022. So this paper consists of two sections. We have section A and section B. So we are going to start with section A, where we have this question here, which says figure 1.1 shows two generalized cells, F and G, of living organisms. So here they have told us to say cell cell F and cell G are cells of living organisms. Okay, so question 1A says identify the part labeled H. So they're asking us to identify the part labeled H, which is in this cell. Okay, so to answer these questions first, we need to familiarize ourselves with the figures which have been given. So when you look at this cell which is here, which is cell F, we have this cell which has that membrane there. Okay, it only have one membrane. So this, by looking at it and the shape is irregular, we can say it is an animal cell. Okay, so this other cell here, it has a regular shape, and we know that. And when we look inside the cell, we can see it has a vacuum, okay, which is letter G. That clear part there is a vacuum where we have water and mineral ions. And we have two membranes. So it has the outer membrane outside there, and it has another inner membrane. So with those features, we can say this is a plant cell. So this is an animal cell. So the part labeled H is the cell membrane. So that is the cell membrane there. Okay, so that is the cell membrane. Okay, so that is the cell membrane. And then from there, question A2 here, they are saying, how does part H differ from part I? So we have that outer membrane, which is the cell wall. Okay, so the outer membrane in a plant cell is the cell wall. So they are asking us to differentiate, like what's the difference between the cell membrane and the cell wall, which is in this plant cell here. So we know that the cell membrane, the function of the cell membrane is to selective permit certain substances in, okay, and also selective permit certain substances out of the cell. So it is selective. It will choose what will enter the cell and what will leave. But now looking at the part labeled I, okay, it is not selective. It allows whatever comes to get inside the cell, and it also allows whatever comes out of the cell. Okay, so we can differentiate in terms of the function, or we can differentiate in terms of the content, or like the structure, the composition. Okay, so in terms of function, we can say H is selectively permeable and I is non-selectively permeable. But in terms of what constitutes H and I, we can say H is made up of lipids, so it's a lipid bilayer, and I is made up of cellulose. Okay, so you can use those two. Either you go with the function or we go with the structure which makes that part. Okay, so you choose for yourself. So the answer there, you can say H is selectively permeable. Why? It selects what will enter and what will leave the cell. Okay, as compared to is not selective, so it will allow what will enter. It allows everything to enter and to leave the cell. But in terms of structure, we can say I is made up of cellulose, H is made up of lipid. Okay, so we move on to question 3 here. under question 1. So question 3 says explain the function of structure labeled J. So structure labeled J. So we know the first thing we have to do here is to identify what that structure is. So in the first place, I mentioned to say that structure there is the cell vacuum. That is the vacuum of the cell. So the function of the vacuum is simply it stores water. So it will store water and mineral ions. Okay, so mineral salts and water is stored in the vacuum. So you can write there. Then from there, which group of living organisms does cell F belong? Okay, number 4, they're saying to which group of living organisms does cell F belong? So let's go back to cell F. So they are asking living organisms to which group of living organisms. So when you look at cell F, okay, we can identify the group where it belongs by looking at its features. Okay, so the features like this outer membrane here, we know it is the cell membrane, and the shape here, when you look at it, it is irregular. So we can safely say this cell belongs to animals. Okay, so it is an animal cell. So the group of organism where it belongs, animal cell. Why? Because it has an irregular shape, and on top of that, it only has the cell membrane as its outer membrane. So that is the animal cell. So it belongs to the group of organisms called animals. So animal cell. So okay, so we are done with question A. Okay, question 1A, we are done. Okay, so we'll move on to question 1B. Okay, so question 1B, here we're given figure. So question 1B reads, figure 1.2 shows the cell organization levels in multicellular organisms. Okay, figure 1.2 shows the cell organization levels in multicellular organisms. So this is the figure here. They are saying it is showing cell organization levels starting from the organelles, which are the smallest, coming to K here, which we don't know, and then followed by tissues, followed by M, then M will form system, and system will form organisms. Okay, so now let's move to the questions. Okay, so the first question here, they're saying identify the parts labeled K and M. So we go back to our figure here. They're asking us to identify K and M on the levels of cell organization. So organelles are those structures we find inside a cell. Okay, inside a cell. So if you have a cell, let's say this is an animal cell, then this is a nucleus. Okay, so that is the nucleus there, and then from there we are going to have the cell cytoplasm. This is the cell cytoplasm, and then this is the cell membrane. Okay, then inside there we are going to have a structure called the mitochondrium. Okay, so this is the mitochondrium. Then we have structures such as the Golgi apparatus inside there. So all these structures I'm mentioning here, they are called the organelles. Okay, the Golgi apparatus, the mitochondria, the nucleus, all those, the rough endoplasmic reticulum, the ribosomes, all those structures are found in the cell, are what we call organelles. Okay, so organelles, they'll come together and they'll form K. So K in this case is what we call a cell. Okay, so here I drew this structure of a cell with organelles inside. Okay, so those organelles, the mitochondria, the Golgi apparatus, then the cell membrane, the cytoplasm, the nucleus, all those are organelles which have come together and they form a cell. So here K is a cell. And then a group of similar cells, okay, not different cells but similar cells, a group of similar cells performing a function is what we call a tissue. So a tissue is simply similar cells, a group of similar cells working together. they will form a tissue. And now a tissue, okay, so we have similar cells working together, they form a tissue, and now different tissues, they are going to form an organ. So M here, M is an organ, okay, an organ. So M is an organ there. Okay, so and then organs, different organs are going to form system. Then system have an organism. Okay, yeah, so that's how it that's how the cell organization level is. Okay, so to identify the parts labeled K and M, K here is cell, and then M is an organ. So organs in short. Okay, so organ, we know they'll form system, and then systems will form a complete organism. Okay, so I have this diagram here, so we can see this is a system, a digestive system. So a digestive system consists of different organs. So we have the stomach there. As you can see, we have the stomach is an organ. We have the intestines here, those are organs. We have the liver is an organ. And then just behind the stomach, we have the pancreas. The pancreas as well is an organ. Okay, the esophagus is an organ. So group of organs are going to form an organ system. And then organ systems, so this is one of the systems. We have the digestive system, we have the secretory system, we have we have the respiratory system, and then we have the circulatory system involving the heart and the blood vessels. So all those systems, the nervous system, they'll come together and form the complete human being, the complete organism. Okay, but it all starts with a cell. A cell will form a tissue will form. So tissues here, we have the muscle tissue, we have the epithelium tissue constituting of the skin, and then we have the nervous tissue constituting of neurons. Okay, and then also have a connective tissue constituting of the basement membrane and other connective tissues such as the blood and others there. So those, they will come together and form an organ. So a tissue will form an organ. Okay, so K, those are the cells, and M there, in this case M here, it is an organ. And then organs, like the organs I mentioned, they'll form system. Now the systems will form a complete organism such as a human being. So to answer this question here, M is a K is a cell, M is an organ. Okay, so state the level of cell organization at which muscles would be found. So muscles are simply a group of cells, group of similar cells. So they're saying state the level, okay, of cell organization at which muscle would be found. So the ones we have mentioned here are the levels of organization. So we have the first organization, which is the level of organization, which is the organelles, the ones I mentioned earlier. Then from there we'll move on to the cells. Then the cells will make the tissues. Then the tissues will make an organ. Then an organ will make a system. A system, then we have a complete organism. Now that question, they're asking us to identify at which level are we going to find the muscle. So muscle, as I mentioned earlier, it is a tissue. So we have muscle tissue, we have the epithelium tissue, and then we have a connective tissue, and we have the nervous tissue. So these are the main tissues which are found in the human body. So the muscle tissue constitutes of the muscle which makes the heart, which the muscles which makes the small intestines. Those are smooth muscles, and the striated muscles of the heart. And then we also have the epithelium tissue where we find the skin, connective tissue, and the nervous tissue. So those are the 4 tissues. So the muscle, in this case, it is on the level of a tissue. Okay, so we move on to question 3. Give one example of a system in plants and in animals. So we are from saying the organs will come together and form a system. So here they are asking us an example of a system in plants and in animals. So some of the systems, like in animals, I have already mentioned them. So in animals, we have the digestive system, we have the respiratory system, we have the nervous system, circulatory system, all those systems. So you choose one and put it there. Then on the plants, we only have two systems here. On plants, we have two systems. We have the shoot system, which consists of the part of the plant which is above the ground. So the part of the plant that we see, okay, when you look at the plant, what you see is the system called the shoot system. So the shoot system will constitute of the leaf, to constitute of the stem, to constitute of the reproductive organ of the plant, which are the flower. There you are going to find the male part and the female part, okay, where the reproductive system is. And then we are going to have other parts such as the auxiliary buds. Okay, those are not much important. So we have the leaf, the stem, the flower there, and we also have the part where differentiation of cells for the growth of that plant is. So all that part which we see outside the ground is what we call the shoot system. Then we have the part which is below the ground, which is called the root system. So those are the systems in plants. So you choose one and you put it there. So we have the root system and the shoot system. And then in animals, we have the respiratory system, digestive system, nervous system, and the circulatory system. Okay, so that is the answer for that part. So we can move on to the next part. Okay, so we are done with question 1. Now let's move on to question 2. Okay, but before we continue, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and leave your comments in the comment section below. Okay, so question 2. So question 2 reads, figure 2.1, okay, figure 2.1, which is this figure here, shows a table of substances absorbed by plants from the soil. So this figure here, they are saying it is showing substances absorbed by plants from the soil. So all these substances are absorbed by the plant from the soil. Okay, so the question continues to say, from figure 2.1, identify substances which enter the plant by 1, osmosis, 2, active transport, and 3, by diffusion. So we have oxygen, we have nitrates, we have potassium, and we have water. So the first thing in when you have been asked a question, try to understand the question. Okay, so you can read it twice or 3 times so that you understand it fully. That's when you can answer it nicely. Okay, so here they're asking us, they have first told us to say all these substances we are seeing here are absorbed by a plant from the soil. Okay, which are these? We have oxygen, nitrate, potassium, and water. So they are saying they are absorbed from the soil. So from those ones which are on that figure there, which ones are absorbed by osmosis? Which one? You just select the answers you have been given. Which one among those is absorbed by osmosis, active transport, or diffusion? So by osmosis, the definition of osmosis, if you know the definition of osmosis, you can identify which one is absorbed by osmosis there. So the one which is absorbed by osmosis is water. We know osmosis is the movement of water from the region of higher concentration to the region of low concentration. So water will move inside the plant from the soil by osmosis. Okay, so what we are saying is that we have a plant. Okay, let's say we have a plant here, and then below the plant we know we have the roots. Okay, so inside there on underground we have water. Okay, so here water will move from the region of higher concentration in the ground to the region of lower concentration in the plant by osmosis. Here we are talking about in the roots there. So to move inside the roots, okay, inside the root by osmosis. So it will cross a membrane there, okay, to cross a membrane from the region here which is highly concentrated with water to the region inside the root which is not highly concentrated with water, across a semi-permeable membrane, okay. So across a semi-permeable membrane, that is osmosis, the movement of water from the area of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration across a semi-permeable membrane. So in this case, we're talking about the cell membrane of the root. Okay, so water will move inside the plant by osmosis. What of active transport? So active transport here, we are absorbing nutrients. Okay, active transport, in most cases it involves movement of substances from low concentration to higher concentration. So we have here in a plant, the concentration of nutrients is high as compared to the soil. So we have higher concentration there. So for the nutrients to move from the soil to the plant, they are going against the concentration gradient. So in this case, we need energy by active transport. So active transport here, we are using energy which is ATP to absorb these nutrients. So in this case, we have nitrates and potassium. Those are nutrients of the plant, so they are absorbed by active transport. Why? Because we need energy for the plant to absorb the nutrients. They are moving from low concentration to high concentration. Okay, so in plants the nutrients are high, so they have to move by active transport. Then diffusion here, we are talking about gas here, which is oxygen. So oxygen will move in by diffusion. Okay, so here in diffusion we do not have a selectively in most cases we don't have a selectively permeable membrane. We have a substance moving from high concentration to low concentration. Well, in most cases here it is a gas, which is oxygen. So osmosis, it's water. Active transport, we have nitrates and potassium. Diffusion, we have oxygen. So those are the answers for those questions. Now let's move on to question B. This is question 2B. So question 2B, they are saying we have figure 2.2 is a graph showing the effect of pH on the rate of enzyme controlled reactions N and O. So they are saying this figure here is a graph which is showing the effect of pH. So take note of that, the effect of pH on the rate of enzyme controlled reactions N and O. So N here represents a reaction, and O there we have a reaction. So in this figure we have the pH. So we have pH 1 to 14, and then we have the rate of reaction. So the rate of reaction is increasing in that way. Okay, that is the figure. Then from the figure now, there are questions which are following here. So these questions, the first one is asking to say what term is given to the parts labeled X and Y in the graph. So we have X and Y. Okay, so what term is given? So that the term given to those points, so when you look at those points, that is the highest point where the reaction, the rate of reaction is highest. So here, that is the highest in reaction O, and there, that is the highest in reaction Y. And when you look at it, there it is constant, and there it is constant. From there it will go down. So that the term which is used for X and Y in that case is optimum. Okay, so the term is optimum. So in this case we are talking about the optimum pH. So the term used there is optimum. So optimum pH, which is constant, the highest point. Okay, the optimum pH of those graphs, that's the highest point where the rate of reaction is highest. Okay, so let's move on to question 2. So here it's optimum. That is the term we use. Which reaction is under acidic condition? So we know the pH range, which is from 1 to 14, Okay, so we have the acidic range and we also have the alkaline, which is the basic part or the basic range. So the acid is from 1 to something less than 7. Okay, 7 is neutral, and then from there something above 7 to 14 is alkaline. So here it is acidic and here it is basic or alkaline. Okay, so the question is saying which reaction is under acidic condition. So on these reactions we have reaction N and reaction O. So reaction N, we see it is at the part where it is acidic, and reaction O, it is starting mostly where it is alkaline here from 7 to 14. Okay, so reaction N is acidic. Which reaction is under acidic condition? So you say reaction what? Reaction N. So you write reaction N there. Okay, so that is for question 2. Question 3. Which reaction could only be for protein food? Give a reason for your answer. So here, for you to answer that question, you must know where digestion of proteins takes place. Okay, so in the digestive system, we know that digestion starts from the mouth, where we have chemical and physical digestion. So chemical digestion, it involves enzymes such as salivary amylase there in the mouth. It will break down starch to maltose. Then that will be incomplete. Why? Because food in the mouth stays for a very short period of time. Then from there it will be swallowed. Then physical digestion is done by the teeth. Teeth will break down bigger molecules of food into smaller ones. And then chemical in the mouth is done by salivary amylase. Then from there, by the help of peristalsis, we are going to push that food into the stomach. Okay, into the stomach. So in the stomach, we have cells of the stomach which produces acid. So in the stomach, we have acid. Okay, so whatever is digested in the stomach works, all the enzymes here works under acidic condition. So we have enzymes there which are produced by the stomach, such as the pepsinogen. So pepsinogen will be produced. So once pepsinogen will be produced by the cells of the stomach in the gastric secretions. Okay, pepsinogen. So this pepsinogen is going to be pepsin once it is activated by the acid. So the acid is going to activate pepsin. So the function of pepsin and prorenin, those two, they will work on proteins under acidic conditions. Okay, so acidic conditions. So in the stomach there, that's where the breakdown of proteins will take place under acidic conditions. So going back to our question, it is saying which reaction could only be for a protein. Okay, which reaction could only be for a protein? Give a reason for your answer. So we have the same reactions, which are reaction N and O. So the proteins, we know it is in acid, so it is N here, so reaction N. So we are going to say reaction, it is reaction N. Reason is because proteins are digested in the stomach, where acid is also produced, and the enzymes which works on proteins are activated in acidic conditions. Okay, so you can just say proteins are digested in the stomach here, where the environment is acidic, as short as that. Okay, so explain the role of enzymes in metabolism. What is the role of enzymes in metabolism? What is an enzyme? Okay, so an enzyme is a biological substance which speeds up metabolic reactions. Okay, so these are chemicals which speeds up a chemical reaction. So this is how they work. This is how they work. So we have, let's say this is an enzyme. It has two parts. Okay, so this is an enzyme. So this is the active part of the enzyme. So this is the active part of the enzyme. Then from there I have this part here. Okay, so what really I want to show you here is this. What will happen is that a substrate will come and bind here. Okay, let's do this. We have this molecule here. We have a molecule which is attached like this. Okay, so we have a molecule which is attached. Let's say this is a these are lipids, these are fats. Okay, so these are fats. So this is a fat molecule, fatty molecule. So what will happen is that this fatty molecule will bind to this the active side of an enzyme. Then the enzyme will help it break, okay, break there and form two molecules, okay, of fat acids, such as, let's say, glycerol and the fat acids. Okay, so the enzyme here, it will help this fat molecule to break and form two products there. So that's how an enzyme speeds up the reaction. So we need this thing to be broken down. So the enzyme will come in, it will bind to that molecule, break it down, help it break and form two products. So if it is fat, then it will be fat acids and glycerol. Okay, so the role of enzymes in metabolism: one, you can say it speeds up chemical reactions. Then two, you can say it helps break molecules into absorbable molecules. Okay, so that is question C. So we are done with that question. Now let's move on to question 3. We are moving on to question 3. So question 3 here, they're saying figure 3 shows part of the alimentary canal of a human being. So this is simply part of the alimentary canal of the human being. Okay, so they are gone further here to ask, to say, identify the parts labeled P and Q. Identify the parts labeled P and Q. So P and Q. So P there is the esophagus and Q is the stomach. So this is the stomach and that is the esophagus. Okay, so here this is the alimentary canal. So the alimentary canal is simply a long tube that runs from the mouth to the anus there, as you can see. So it's from the mouth, we have the stomach there, then we have the esophagus there, then we have the small intestine, the large intestine, finally to the anus. So the anus where the fecal matter are excreted. Okay, so P is the esophagus and Q is the stomach. So we move on to another question. Explain the function of the part labeled R in digestion. So let's see the part labeled R. So R is the pancreas. This is the beginning of the small intestine. That is the liver, which is S. And Q is the stomach. That one is the esophagus. R is the pancreas. So they are saying explain the function of the part labeled R, which is the pancreas. So what is the function of the pancreas in the digestive system? So the pancreas here too secrete what we call the pancreatic juice. So the pancreatic juice will be secreted by the pancreas. Okay, so that pancreatic juice will constitute of hormones. So the pancreatic juice will constitute of enzymes, not hormones. So in the pancreatic juice we have enzymes such as pancreatic amylase, which will work on sugars. Okay, will work on the continuation of breaking down of starch, which are carbohydrates. Remember, starch, the carbohydrates were worked on by the salivary amylase in the mouth. Now in the pancreas, here, the breaking down of those the pancreas will release pancreatic juice, which constitute of enzymes such as pancreatic amylase, which will work on the starch, which are carbohydrates. Then from there, apart from enzymes such as pancreatic amylase, we also have hormones. So it is a digestive organ, this one, and it is also part of the endocrine system. So endocrine system, there we are talking about hormones. So it secretes insulin. Insulin is a hormone. It also secretes glucagon. Okay, those are hormones. So insulin will, after a meal, we know that glucose, which is sugar levels, will increase in blood. So insulin will help convert those sugars into storage form, which is glucagon. Okay, that is by the liver. So insulin will help reduce sugar levels in the blood. Then from there, glucagon, when we are starving, glucagon will work on the storage form of glucose. So it will break down the storage form of glucose, which is glycogen, into glucose. Then we use it. Okay, so we have two hormones, insulin and glucagon. They are secreted by who? The pancreas, and they help in regulating sugar levels. Okay, that is the role of the pancreas. Apart from that, it also secretes what we call, the pancreas also secrete what we call ghrelin. So ghrelin here, it's also a hormone. So we can just say, if you have forgotten the name of which is ghrelin, we can say the pancreas secretes the hormone which regulate the emptying of the stomach. Okay, the emptying of the stomach. So when this stomach here is filled with food, for it to empty the content of the stomach, the insulin will have to secrete the hormone called ghrelin, which will stimulate the stomach to empty those the content into the small intestine. Okay, so one, secretes insulin. Two, it also produces enzymes such as pancreatic amylase, which works on starch. Then three, it also produces the hormone called ghrelin, which stimulates the stomach to do what? To empty its content into the small intestine. Okay, so that is the role of the pancreas, which is labeled R. Okay, so state two functions of the part labeled S in the digestive system. So the part labeled S here is the liver. So we know the liver produces bile. We know the bile is stored by that part which is called the gallbladder. Okay, so the bile itself will work on fats. Okay, so if we have a large molecule of fat, what will happen is that the bile will come and break this into small droplets, okay, of lipids. These are fats. So now in these smaller particles or droplets of fats will be worked on now by the enzyme called lipase. So lipase is also found in pancreatic juice. So pancreatic juice secreted by the pancreas. So this pancreatic lipase will break now these smaller particles or smaller droplets of fat into fat acid and glycerol. Okay, so the one which has helped the lipase is what we call bile from the liver. So the bile will break larger molecules of fats. We know fat are attached, okay? The lipids that we take, they are big molecules. So the bile will come and break the fats into smaller molecules, which can be worked on by the enzyme lipase. Okay, so that is one of the function of the liver. It produces one, it produces bowel. 2, it detoxifies. If you have taken a medication, okay, or a poisonous thing, the liver will detoxify that thing, okay. Why? Because all the blood vessels which comes from the intestines here, they are going to form one big blood vessel which is going through the liver there, okay. So all the absorbed nutrients, and if you have taken a poisonous thing, they will go to the liver. So the liver will not to say, oh, there is a poisonous substance here, they need to break it down. And apart from poisonous stuffs, we also have detoxification of drugs. So if you have taken a drug, the liver will also help to break that drug down. So 1, it produces bile. 2, it detoxifies drugs or toxic substances. And then from there, alcohol as well is also detoxified there in the liver, okay. So you can write those there. So question D. So question D here, they are saying describe 2 effects of the common omics of the part labeled S to the human body. Okay, describe 2 effects of the common omics of the part labeled S to the human body. So the part labeled S there is the liver itself. So they are saying we identify or we name common omics, which is in this case omics is an illness of the liver, okay, to the human body, okay. The effects of illnesses of the liver to the human body. So the common omics here, we are talking about hepatitis. So hepatitis is one of the common omics of the liver. So this hepatitis is caused by the virus, okay, the virus which is hepatitis B or hepatitis A. Those are viruses which causes hepatitis. Then apart from this, we have liver cirrhosis. Liver cirrhosis is also one of the illnesses of the liver. So these are very common ones. So this one is caused by, you can say, even alcohol can cause liver cirrhosis, as we know that alcohol is detoxified in the liver. So if taking excessive alcohol can lead to liver cirrhosis and hepatitis. And now we describe 2 effects of the common omics of the part labeled S to the human body, okay. So the effect of hepatitis here, we can have jaundice, which is discoloration of the skin. The skin will start appearing yellow, okay, due to accumulation of bilirubin, okay. So we have hepatitis, which causes jaundice. Jaundice is simply changing of the skin to, we look somehow pale, okay. And then apart from that, we can also have depleting of protein factors, clotting factors. So clotting factors also are going to be finished. Why? Because the liver here is affected, and we know the liver produces those clotting factors. And we also have deficiency of vitamins. Certain vitamins are produced by the liver. So in the case of omics of the liver, we are going to have a deficiency disease, like we are going to lack vitamins. But these are the common omics of the liver. And then we also have hepatomegaly, where we have enlargement of the liver. Hepatomegaly is also a common omics of the liver, okay. So they are saying we describe 2 effects. So the effect here, we have jaundice, okay. We can have jaundice, we can have you lack vitamins, because some of the vitamins like vitamin K is produced by the liver. So we are going to have lack of those in these conditions, okay. So you write the name, which is hepatitis. What is the effect? Jaundice, okay. Discoloration of the skin. Then in cirrhosis, you write cirrhosis. What is the effect to the body? you are going to have depletion of vitamins or lack of vitamins there. Okay, so question 3 is done, and then we move on to question 4. So question 4 here, they are saying figure 4 summarizes the stages in the formation of the human fetus. Okay, so here the end product is the fetus. So we have this cell, two cells here, we are seeing they are joining together to form the ball of cells, and then we have a fetus. Now the question is asking to say identify the cells labeled T and U. So we have T there, then we have U here. So formation of fetus, two cells are involved. What are those? The sperm, which has a tail. You have that flagella there, which is a tail. Then we have the ovum here, which is U. So T is the sperm and U is the ova. We have the ova here, or we say ovum. Okay, so we move on to question 2. So question 2 here is saying, state one way in which cell T and U in figure 4 are genetically similar. One way in which they are genetically similar, these cells, is that this sperm cell, the chromosome number, the number of chromosome is 23. Then this one as well has the number of chromosome 23. Okay, so if you add 23 and 23, that's when we are going to have a full human being, the number of chromosome in a human being, which is equals to 46. So the most common feature here, which is observed in cell T and U, is the number of chromosomes, which is 23. Okay, one way in which cell T and U in figure 4 are genetically similar, genetically. So here the similarities are in genetically similar. So, okay, take note of this. So they both have 23, the number of chromosomes as 23 number of chromosomes in each. So when they fuse, fertilization will take place, and then this number will be 46, which is in the normal human being. Okay, so they are both genetically similar in such a way that they have 23 total number of chromosomes in each. So mention 3 functions of the part labeled V. 3 functions of the part labeled V. So that is the placenta there connecting the fetus, okay, connected to the umbilical cord. Okay, so the placenta, the function of the placenta. So here, this is where the diffusion, the exchange of gases takes place. You have oxygen from the mother, okay, then here it will diffuse in the placenta, and then it goes to the fetus. Then we have the exchange of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide diffused from the baby there, from the fetus to the bloodstream of the mother, and then it will be excreted. Okay, remember this fetus is inside the womb. And then apart from that, it delivers nutrients to the fetus. You know, the mother is eating, so when she eats, the nutrients will be absorbed, and then they'll be taken through the bloodstream to the placenta. Then that they'll be delivered to the baby via the umbilical cord. Okay, so we have exchange of gases, we have supply of nutrients, and then we also have protection, such as it delivers also what we call antibodies. So we have antibodies which can cross the placenta to go to the baby and protect the baby. So these antibodies are protective. They are part of the immune system. They protect the fetus from diseases. Okay, so we have antibodies which are supplied, crosses the placenta there. So we have supply of antibodies. Then we also have supply of gases such as oxygen. Then you also have in excretion. Waste product move from the fetus to the placenta, and then in the bloodstream of the mother, then they are excreted. Okay, so it is involved in excretion, gaseous exchange, nutrient supply, and immunity. Okay, so we have gaseous exchange such as oxygen and carbon dioxide, nutrients, okay, supply of nutrients, and waste product removal. Okay, then we come to question 4b. Identify 3 causes of infertility in human beings. So in causes of infertility in human beings, So in human beings, let's say the reproductive system of the female reproductive system, okay, the female reproductive system is like this. Okay, so we have the ovaries this side, then we have these tubes here, which are the fallopian tubes. So infertility will occur if we have blockage of these tubes. Okay, so one of them is blockage of the fallopian tube will lead to infertility. Why? Because even when the sperms comes inside here, they won't be able to go and fertilize the over this side. Why? Because we have blockage of the fallopian tubes there, they are blocked. So blockage of the fallopian tube. What can block the fallopian tube can be a cancer or a tumor there, or we can have over secretion of mucus. So here the mucus which can be secreted can block the fallopian tube. Okay, so that is one of the causes of infertility. Then apart from that, we have fibroids. So the uterus here, we know it receives the fetus, it receives the zygote from the fallopian tube. So if you have endometriosis here, infection of the uterus, then we can have infertility, because the zygote will come and then this part here won't be fully developed to receive the zygote. Then finally that cell will be just removed via the vagina. Then apart from that, we have fibroids, which are infections of the infections of the ovaries there, can also cause infertility. That is in female. Now in males we can also have infertility. Okay, so infertility in male. So blockage of the sperm duct. So there is a sperm duct which comes from the testicles this side. Okay, so that sperm duct, once it is blocked somewhere there, then the sperms won't be able to come out. So that can cause infertility. Then apart from that, we have low sperm count. So if the sperm count is very low, then that can lead to infertility. So we have fibroids. And then apart from fibroids, and then we have blockage of the fallopian tube, low sperm count, and the blockage of the sperm duct, okay, due to an infection that can cause infertility in human beings. Okay, so we are done with that question, which is question 4. Now let's move on to question 5. So question 5 here, they are saying figure 5 shows blood group phenotypes for a mother and her 2 children. So we have a father and a mother, and this mother has 2 children, which is a daughter B and daughter O there. Daughter which is the son with blood group O, and the daughter with the blood group B. Then the father here has the blood group is unknown, the mother, the blood group is A. So the question now reads to say, from figure 5, deduce the genotype of the father and the mother. Okay, so they've given us the phenotype of the mother, which is blood group A. Okay, so what we should know here is that for someone to have blood group A, the genotype should be I, O. You know, O is recessive. When you do genetics, O is recessive. So in this case, this person has blood group A. So it can have this genotype, or it can have this genotype here, where we have both the arrows are A there. Okay, so what we are saying here is that he's carrying the genes A and A. So this is blood group A. Or it can be like this, where this O is just recessive. It doesn't show itself in the phenotype. Okay, so it is recessive. Then here A is dominant. So A can be this type, or it can be that type. Then the father is unknown. Okay, but what can help us find the genotype of the father are these children here which have been produced. We have a son with blood group O, and we have a daughter with blood group B. Okay, in this case here it has blood group A. So for blood group A, you can't have a blood group B dot unless if the father has blood group B. Okay, so here one of the genes is B. Now another thing which can help us find the genotype of the father here is this. For you to produce the child with blood group O, you must be carriers of blood group O. Okay, in this case, must be of this genotype if you are blood group A, and then if blood group B, you must be of this genotype for blood group B, like this. So for B, we know that B, you can only have blood group B if you have these alleles. Okay, that is blood group B. Then we also have something like this. Okay, so this is blood group B, and that is also blood group B, and O here is recessive, and this one here is homozygous for blood group B, where it has both genes are B. Okay, then we are using letter I here to represent this because the genes which controls blood groups are multiple genes, where we have B, A, and AB and O. So under genetics, we use a single letter to represent the genes. So that's why we're using I and denote which one, A, B, or O, by writing them as the powers there. So for blood group B, you can only have B and a gene which is a carrier gene of O, or you can have this genotype. Okay, so now this father and this mother produced a son with blood group O. Okay, so for you to produce a blood group O, you can only be carriers. So blood group O can only, the genotype, the only possible genotype for blood group O is OO, like this. Okay, so meaning here, for you to have a son or a daughter with blood group O, you must have that O in your blood. So the possible genotypes for the father, since this side we have this daughter with blood group B, the only possible is this one, that is the genotype. Okay, that is the genotype. Why we are saying so is because the mother had blood group A, and we are saying the father has blood group B. Okay, so and they produced the son with blood group O and a daughter with blood group B. Okay, this is possible because this A here is the carrier of blood group O. Then this one as well is the carrier of blood group O. So they will have donate O here and that O, which will form this O here. Okay, and now this O from the mother and the B, it will form this B here, which is what we are seeing in this figure here. Okay, which is what we are seeing here, which is B and O. So the genotype for the father is B and O. That is the genotype. So if they're asking you to say what is the phenotype, you write B, A, B, O. Okay, but now for the genotype of the father here, it is B and O. That is the genotype. But the phenotype, you write B, because this is blood group B. The mother, it is A, then with the O there. Okay, so that's why they had this son here with blood group O, because for O, you need to have both alleles to be O. Okay, so those are the genotypes. So we move on to question B. So question B is saying the daughter got married and had a child with blood group AB. What was the blood group phenotype of the husband? So we have this daughter with this daughter here. He got married, and now when she got married, she had a child with AB. Okay, with AB. So they are saying what was the possible blood group phenotype of the husband. And we know that this daughter here, the only possible genotype is B and O. Okay, she got O from the mother, which is this O, and B from the father, which is this B. Okay, since this O is recessive, this daughter has a blood group B, so this one is powerless, recessive, so it is recessive. That's why this blood group is B. Now they are saying she got married and they had a child with the blood group AB. So for you to have blood group AB, you need to carry both genes. You need to carry the gene for A and the gene for B. Okay, that's when you can have a child. That's when you can have blood group AB. So what is the possible blood group phenotype of the husband? So since here the daughter has blood group O of this type, then the child had blood group AB, we can safely say the only possible phenotype of the husband is A. Okay, what was the blood group phenotype of the husband? So the only possible is A. Okay, that is the possible phenotype of the husband, which is A. So she the daughter here, which is AB, she's going to get the A from the father and the B from the mother, which we have seen that the daughter here, this one has that B, then they'll get another A from the father to make them AB. Okay, so that's how we have arrived at that answer. And apart from A, even AB is also possible. If the father has blood group AB, then he can donate this A here to the daughter, which is AB. So the father can be AB or A only. So you just choose which one you go with. Don't write both. So you just choose A. So A, then we can have the daughter with AB, since we can have a child with AB. Since the child has AB, the mother has B, so the father should have A, so that they donate A from the father and B from the mother. Okay, so question C. The father divorced the wife and married another woman with blood group B, and their first child had blood group O. With the help of a genetic diagram, explain how this was possible. Okay, so the father here, this father, he divorced this mother here and married another wife. Then the child they had was of blood group O. You've seen? So I had married another woman with blood group B. Okay, so this mother here had blood group A and they had a son with blood group O. Now the father he divorced this one and married another woman of blood group B. Then they also had a child with blood group O. So using a genetic diagram, let's show this. Okay, so to show this, what we can do, first of all, you say parent phenotype. Okay, so parent phenotype, we have the father. We said the father had blood group B. Okay, so we had the father is of blood group B crossed with the mother of blood group. This is the blood group of the mother, the woman she married, which is B. Okay, then we come to the second step where we write the parent genotype. So here you complete this when you're answering. You say parent phenotype, then you write the blood group of the two people you are crossing. So in this case, we are crossing the father with blood group B and the mother, this one, the new woman which was married, of blood group B. Now the genotype. So the parent genotype. So parent genotype, now we are going inside how to see how the genes will appear. So this one, so for the genes, remember you use I, and then you denote the genes on as the power there. So you are going to have B and O as the genotype for the father. So we already found it here, the father, this one. Okay, so and the phenotype for the mother, this one. Since they produce the child with blood group O, here you have seen, meaning even this B here should have blood group O, should have a gene for O. So here we are also going to have I B crossed with IO. Okay, then after this step, now we move on to the third step, where now these, you separate these ones, these genes, these gametes will separate, the genotypes will separate and form the gametes. Okay, so here you can write to say gametes. So we are writing a complete genetic diagram for you to get the full marks. So there you separate under formation of gametes. These, they will separate 50-50, and this will be on its own. We are going to have a B, and then here we are going to have a O, which is that one there. Then this one here, we are going to have it's alone here when we are forming gametes. Then we are going to have an O there. Okay, so from here now, during fertilization, we are going to form the first inferior generation. Okay, first inferior genotype. So these are the offspring now which we are going to form. Okay, so this is the genotype. Okay, the F1 genotype, where now we are going to have this, okay, crossed with this, crossed with that. We are going to have I B I O. Then if this one crosses, oh my god, I've made a mistake here. Okay, so if this one crosses with this, so we are crossing these ones with these genes this side. So if this one crosses with that one, we are going to have IB IB. Then if that one doesn't cross with that, it goes with that one, then we are going to have IB, then IO. Okay, so we are done with this one. We only have two chances to cross with these ones, which are this side. So we will go with this one again. So that one with that one will have BB IO. Then this one, if it goes with this, we are going to have a child with blood group O. You have seen, so that's where that child with blood group O is coming from. Okay, so that is the F1 genotype. The F1 genotype. Then now we'll move to the F1 phenotype. So we write here to say F1. Now the phenotype, the filial phenotype. So the filial phenotype, now here we are talking about the group, blood group actually. So the blood group here, this one will be blood group B. Then this one will be blood group O, since that O is recessive. So this one is blood group O, blood group B, and this is blood group B. Then we have blood group O. Okay, so that is the genetic diagram. So you start with the phenotype, where you write the blood groups themselves. So in this case, we were crossing blood group B, and blood group B. Okay, then from there you come to the genotype. There are the inside appearance of the genes. We know that the father was blood group B with the carrier of gene, blood group O gene. Then this one was also a carrier. Then from there, these they will separate under the and form the gametes. Then this will separate. Then once they separate, they will cross to form the F1 genotype. Then once the F1 genotype is formed, then we can deduce the blood groups, which is this is B, this is O, that is this is B as well, but is a carrier of blood group O. This is also blood group B, and that is the blood group O. So from here, this is the genetic diagram. Okay, so we have answered all the questions in section A. See you in the next video where we are going to answer section C questions, section B questions, the essay questions. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your comment concerning this video in the comment section.